I'm Jim Grover. These are actual situations, things that'll make you survivable on the street.
You need to look at it from a survivability standpoint.
Simple. First of all, let's talk about the light, okay? I want you to see, as I shine the light downrange, look at that. It's bright through the focal plane. In other words, it's very bright, doesn't need to be focused. Instant on, instant off. Instant on, instant off. Even if I play the light a little bit closer or a little bit further away, it maintains its brightness, all right? The first way that we're going to talk about using light is as I discussed. I'm going to come around the corner as if you were a situation that I was unsure of, and I'm just going to beam you with my light and go through the tactical play of that situation, okay? So I'll start back here, and as I come around the corner, oh, hey, what's going on, guys? Now you can see you can't see me. But gun's already out, as you can see. Now to holster the gun, all I've got to do is come back up here, say, hey, sorry guys, I didn't know there was, I didn't know there, there could be a problem or something. It's a dangerous place, All right, so let's do it again. Take a look at what it looks like. Whoa, hey, what's going on, guys? Any problem here? Yeah, I couldn't be sure, because there's a lot of bad things happen in this area. Sorry if I got you alarmed. Easy, okay? Easy and a good use of the light, something that you can depend on. Now, similarly, if I'm walking along and I've got my light in my hand and I get that tap on the shoulder, when I turn around, whoa, I'm going to turn around light first. The reason I'm going to turn around light first is I want to take your night vision immediately. That's going to give me a chance to find your hands, see what you're up to, decide whether I have to escalate along my force continuum, go to my weapon, go to my empty hands, or simply verbal commands. Oh, sorry, you scared me, you startled me. No problem, okay? So again, I'm walking along just like this. I feel that touch. Hey, what's going on? Oh, man, I'm sorry. I can't be too careful around here. I'm walking alone. Simple. Simple, good weapon, the use of white light. All right, let's talk about shooting with it now. Okay. First, the Harry's position, and I shoot a little bit of a modification. I'm not sure this is exactly as Mike Harry's would want it to be taught, any more than I'm sure that it's exactly as Bill Rogers would want his technique taught, but these are things that I've adapted. Okay, all we're going to do is have our light right here, and since we've already got our light out, it's already out here, like I said, we want to make sure that we don't muzzle flash our forearm on the way out. Okay? So what we're going to do to avoid that is I'm going to come underneath the strong hand. In other words, I'm going to come here. Now, if you look closely, what I've got going on here is I've got target identification, downrange, and I've got light on the front part of my weapon, which gives me a little bit of light on the front sight. Now, even if I didn't have tritium sights, I'd still have a half-illuminated front sight, which lets me see it even more clearly in the dark or low light situation. Okay? So again, we're going to shoot this one. I want you to concentrate on watching my hand and comparing what you see as far as recoil to a double-handed grip. Okay, so I'm going to walk in, coming up, all of a sudden I see a problem. Uh-oh. And hold. Now take a look at the target. Even though I've got 4 fingers in there, you can hear that I had to slow my rate of fire because there's going to be more movement of the gun. Okay? And necessarily I have to slow down my rate of fire. I'm not going to be able to shoot as quickly as I can using a two-handed grip. Okay, so that's the Harry's position. Let's take a look now at the Rogers position, which basically I'm going to shoot just like this. I'm going to have the weapon with the palm heel of my hand, turning it on. I'm going to turn my light so it's max sensitive, so as soon as my palm heel touches it, it comes on. Okay, just like that. Okay? And all I'm going to do is take the weapon and basically have it right here so that these 3 fingers right here are on my hand, and I have a fairly standard grip. Now, if you look, I still have some contact here, and I've got good light on my target. Okay? So I can walk along just like this, unarmed, being ready to draw. Okay? So I'm standing here, I can do this, I can look around, whatever, and then if I need to draw, I draw right into that and fire my rounds. Okay? Now again, what you're going to notice is, you're going to notice that the gun is going to move a whole lot more than a two-handed grip. That's why we need to practice this in training. All right? All right, let's move on to, oddly enough, reloads. What happens with the light when we have to reload the weapon? Well, a couple of things. Number one, it is cumbersome, and you want to make sure that you're not going to delude yourself into thinking that you're going to stand out in the open with your light and reload. It's not going to happen, okay? What you're going to have to do is move the cover, get into a position where you can have all this equipment doing things to reload. All right, now I'm going to just constructively use cover right here so that I'm not running around with my cameraman chasing me, okay? We'll just use this like, okay, I'm behind cover, I've been shooting, and I'm going to draw, fire, and then I'm going to go ahead, reload using my light to go into my back pocket, etc. And we'll talk through it. So I'm standing here, okay, I've been shooting, so I've come out, I'm going to shoot, okay, and okay, now I've got to reload. So the first thing that I've got to do is turn the gun sideways and put the light in my back pocket. So I'm going to turn the gun sideways, let the magazine fall, put the light in my back pocket, and move my gun what? Parallel to the deck, just like we learn in normal light. I'm going to regain my magazine, my fresh magazine. I'm going to come up here, insert it, not removing my palm heel from the base of the magazine. I'm going to regain my light, come up underneath my gun, and ready to shoot again. Okay? It's not what you'd call a quick process. Okay? And you need to understand that. Nothing's going to happen quick when you got this many moving parts. Okay? Another option is to go ahead and place the weapon down on your foot, like I discussed. Okay? So what we'll do is we'll bend down, we'll place the light right here on our foot so we know where it is, behind cover. We can go ahead and reload and then continue to fire. So I'm going to do that now. Okay, we'll start standing up. I'm going to fire the Harry's position, creature of habit. So I'm standing and all of a sudden problem. Okay, and need to shoot. Okay, light goes off. I step down. I'm going to reload the weapon in a kneeling position. I'm going to regain my light and come up either from the kneeling position or I could have stood up to shoot. Doesn't really matter. Okay, the thing that matters is that I don't lose my light. That's what I'm concerned with here. All right, what I want to do now is I want to talk a little bit about transitions. In close quarter battle or when we're preparing for raids or hostage recoveries, we normally are using an M4 carbine, M16 type of weapon or assault weapon, or an MP5 or some kind of subgun. And we do transitions from using the main gun to dropping the main gun and getting the secondary weapon out. That's the transition in those terms. Transition in these terms is what I'm talking about, is going from a bridge weapon or from use of your hands to your gun. Now this is really important, okay? This is where we really start to get into the advanced techniques. In other words, you assess a problem, you say, uh-oh, got to use my intermediate weapon or my weapon, and all of a sudden it turns into a shooting. We've got to be able to get rid of this the most economical way possible without making an extra movement. If I throw this up like this, my hand goes way off my gun, by my gun and comes back. It's like when we learned how to do busy hand drills. You didn't see me throwing the bag or making any extra motion, okay? The bag dropped right by my feet. My coffee cup dropped right by my feet because all you're doing is opening your hand. You need to be able to go along that force continuum very effectively, okay? You need to be able to go from hands to gun, from hands to bridge weapon, from bridge weapon to gun. That's what being an advanced shooter is all about. Sometimes you read in the magazines, you know, about people being able to shoot on the move and shoot while running. That's bull, okay? I've never, ever been able to find anybody who could shoot on a dead run because there's so much movement going on. Now, there are some people who are committed to saying that they can do it, and maybe there are those exceptional people that might be able to pull it off. I'm not one of those exceptional people, obviously, okay? I need to be more human, and I need to control my movement a little bit better than that. So when you move and shoot then, what becomes important is the ability for you to hold the gun stable, and as you hold the gun stable, continue to shoot by having your front sight on the target. Now in CQB, in close quarter battle, when I was in the hostage recovery business for quite a while, we developed kind of a strange walk, and everyone used to call it the duck walk, the Groucho Marx walk, etc. And basically what that motion looks like is you're going to draw the weapon and you're going to stabilize by rolling your feet just like you would on a patrol, heel to toe, heel to toe, heel to toe. You're rolling. You're using your ankles, your knees, and your hips to isolate your upper body. These are becoming shock absorbers, if you will. Okay? And that's really all there is to shooting on the move. Now, shooting laterally is the same thing. If I'm going to shoot lateral to my target, I don't want to shoot completely flat. In other words, I don't want to shoot like this, because from the time that I shoot until the time the round impacts, I've thrown it slightly. You want to shoot as you go into a target and as you come out of a target. Okay, but not at the target as you are parallel to it, okay, on the target line. But let's go back a little bit. Let's talk first about the shooting on the move. When would you have to do it? Well, normally for civilians or for people who are not duty-bound, or let's say maybe there'd be a situation where you might have to move into it because your wife's being accosted, your child's being abducted, something like that. But for the most part, the most important thing that you can learn is how to shoot as you move backwards, as you move away from a problem, okay? Just as I showed you earlier, okay, we did in the first tape where we were backing up, stop, draw and shoot. Now, we're going to continue to move backwards. We're going to come backwards and keep moving, all right? It's a very, very simple procedure. The thing that you have to do is you have to wick up your concentration on the front sight and on your gun handling, all right? So real simply, I'm just going to walk down here towards my target, and then once I get down there, I'm just going to start backing away and firing at my target, okay? So let's say there might be 2 or 3 guys down there, whatever. I walk a little bit too deep, maybe I'm daydreaming, don't notice it. I come down into it, and all of a sudden I realize there's a situation. Whoa, draw and... All right, now take a look downrange. If I was to try running backwards, that kind of group right there would be non-existent. That kind of group would turn into rounds going like this, off the shoulder, off the hip, with me anyway. I'm not one of those exceptional people that can run and shoot. Okay, I don't think I've ever met one of them yet. All right, so moving backwards then is nothing more than seeing our problem, we draw the gun and start to back away. Just like that, to cover. Okay, that's all we've got to do. So again, we come up here, whoa, start to back away, and gun goes away. Again, look at your target, no problem. It's a controlled movement, all right? This is a rapid movement, not an extremely fast movement, okay? And there's a big distinction there. Rapid movement is under control. Frantic motion, running backwards, is not going to allow you to shoot. You can do one or the other, okay? Now, when then is there a situation that you would shoot going forward? Well, it's a good question. You would shoot going forward when no other available cover exists. In other words, I don't have a place to dive to cover. A person draws on me or is firing on me, and there's nowhere to go. I'm in the wide open. And you ask yourself, why then would I go forward? Simple reason. There's only one lever that I have. I'm already behind the power curve. He's already engaging me. I'm in the reaction, not action. And that's to unnerve him. And one of the things that's going to unnerve him is if I should be moving backwards afraid and I'm doing this, coming at him. That's going to be fairly unnerving. And that's what we want to use. If that's the only tool that we have, then that's the only tool that we have. Okay? So how would that look? Well, real simply, I'll be moving forward, and from the time that I decide, uh-oh, I got an assault cue or this person's going to shoot at me, I'm going to continue to move aggressively at my target. So again, I'm walking normally down range, all of a sudden have a problem. Whoa! And again, look at the target, you see my movement, and you can see that I'm not throwing rounds all over the place. I'm still being a responsible shooter. I'm not just throwing them into the crowd. If this happens on a city street or out in public, you have an obligation to make sure that you're controlling your gun. If you run, you don't know where all those rounds are going. May sound good, may look good, and you might chalk it up to suppressive fire, but suppressive fire isn't a resolution of your problem, okay? The problem ends with your rounds impacting in the target. Okay, so let's do it one more time. I'm going to walk down range. Watch how I isolate my body using my hips, my knees, and my ankles. My draw occurs as I move forward. I don't stop anywhere through the progression of events. I come along here, all of a sudden I got to shoot. Shit! And once again, there you are. It's a funny thing, you know, but after years of doing action-oriented shooting, CQB, defensive shooting, I shoot much better with motion than I do target shooting. I'm a horrible target shot. I cannot stand on a line and just all day put a nice little knot in a target. If someone beats me, I can, but I have to have motion in order for my marksmanship to come all together, because that's the only reason that I shoot. And you can get that way too. And if you do that, you're making maximum effective use out of each round that you shoot. To stand on line and do none of this, you're wasting ammo. Once you've mastered the very basics, trigger, grip, stance, etc., you need to move on to these drills, these intermediate drills, and these advanced drills. All right? Okay, let's move on. Okay, what we're going to talk about now is weak hand draw. When a concealed holster does its job, okay, it pushes the weapon against your body. And I always wear mine back here with the thumb loops crossed like this so that I can open my coat in the event that I'm questioned and you can't see the gun. It's real simple. Just tuck the elbow in a little bit. Hey, what are you talking about? I don't have a gun on. Okay? In people who are deploying, that's important. It's also important to be able to get rid of all your stuff quickly. With the snaps, you can just snap, snap, your stuff's gone. So the test of a concealed weapon then is, hey, what are you talking about, man? I don't have a gun. No problem. Okay? So wear your gear properly. All right? Now, since it's doing its job and it's laying against my body, when I reach around for it with my left hand, I've got to create a gap right here between the gun and my body. Where my hand would normally go like this, see, when I break my knee in like we do in our draw, creates a gap. I've got to do the same thing by bending my body in an S. That's going to take the butt of the gun away from my body. Watch the gun. Concealed, now getting ready for the weak hand draw. Bend my body into an S, okay? As best I can throughout this process, I'm going to try to center my injured arm, okay? Now, you may be able to do that, and again, you might not have any damn control of it. We don't know how you're going to react to being shot, but as best you can, gyroscopically, it's better if you center your arm on your body. That way it's not swinging free and affecting this hand, okay? So let's take a look at what happens to draw. Let me do it without my vest on first so that you can see it a little bit better. Okay, initially, what's going to happen is I'm going to reach back with my left hand and grab the gun. You can see how I'm grabbing it. I'm grabbing it not with my trigger finger straight. There's a reason for that, okay? I'm going to grab it with all my fingers under the trigger guard and pull it straight up. And then I'm going to move the gun into the proper position and bring it to bear on target. Now, there's a reason I'm going to do that. I don't want, in any way, shape, or form, my trigger finger to have even the remotest possibility of getting inside that trigger guard. This is an unnatural motion. I'm right-handed. So this is an unnatural motion. If my trigger finger slips in there and I'm jerking like this, I may have that problem with sympathetic muscle tightening. And who knows where that round's going to go, okay? It wouldn't serve us very well to be shot in the arm and then shoot ourselves in the ass, too, okay? So what we want to make sure that we do is keep our fingers well away from that trigger guard, all right? So we'll create the body S like this, draw the weapon out, and then straight to the target, okay? I'm not scooping to the target. Certainly with my weak hand, I don't want to do this because, again, if I could have my muzzle averted with my right hand, what would make my left hand any different? I still want to try to concentrate on bringing the gun straight out like this. What you're going to find is that most people shoot just as well with their left hand as they do with their right because their speed decreases, they pay more attention, and they focus more on the front sight. Okay, so it's very common. Don't try to get fancy. Don't try to do double taps or hammers with one-handed, offhand shooting. Single rounds, one right after another. Boom, boom, boom. That's what's going to get you through. Okay, now, as you do this, concentrate also as you grip the gun and bring it out like this. on your front sight, making sure you have as good a grip as possible, and making sure that when the gun goes into your hand, you don't have a lot of space between your web of your hand and the tang of the gun. You got to have a proper grip, just the same, even though it's only one-handed grip, a proper grip. Okay, just like this, nice and tight. Okay, now obviously with this grip, we're only going to be able to have front to rear pressure on the gun. That's the best we can do, and the gun's going to move quite a bit. All right? All right, let's triple rounds then and just see what it's going to look like. You're going to have to clear your garment just like you would normally, okay? So you want to make sure that your pocket's weighted with a couple of coins or a couple of rounds if you're able to do that where you are, okay? So that the coat will come free when you go to draw. So as I stand here, all right, all I'm going to do is I'm going to make my initial motion into my S, draw the gun out, and always transfer the gun back to the right hand, to the strong hand, to do any manipulation initially. And certainly don't try to reholster weak hand. Okay, just transfer it to your right hand or your strong hand and put it away. All right, so let's try that again. Again, I'm standing here, okay, I decide, oh, I gotta shoot, make the S, take the gun out, straight to the target, and there it is. Okay, now you look at the target, no problem, acceptable groups. No problem with that at all. Okay? Now one more time, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on leaving my hand dead center. Okay? So here we are facing our target. Boom, shot, it's dead. It's dropped down right in front of me, right there, and no problem. Okay? Do it just that fast. Remember, what we're trying to do is we're just trying to put rounds range that count. We're not trying to waste our ammunition. Certainly, we don't want to have to do any reloads if we don't have to. Okay, but that's a good point to go into. Okay, now, what if I have to reload? Well, it's a good question. Okay, if you have to reload, and there's several ways that you can approach this problem, obviously we want to be by cover. Again, don't think we're on some competition gig where we're standing out in the open and we're going to do a weak-handed reload as someone's shooting at us. Get the cover. Okay, that's the real world is always cover. Always cover, and when cover's not available, concealment. All right? So let's work through this reload, okay? First thing that we're going to do is make our S, draw. We've been shooting, bing, 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 bing. Okay, now, I got to reload. The first thing I'm going to do is take my middle finger and press my magazine release button. Boom, magazine falls free. Okay? I'm going to bring this down here and stick it right in my knees, just like that. I'm going to come back, get my fresh magazine, insert it, regain the weapon, come back up, and shoot. Okay? Let's do it again. From here, all of a sudden, I know I got to shoot. Gun comes out, I've been shot. Get my initial rounds out. Middle finger, drops that magazine. Okay, now, what happens if the magazine gets hung up? Glocks are pretty notorious for this. Don't worry about it, okay? I know I've depressed the magazine release button fully. The magazine is still seated there. Should I worry about it now? No. Take it, turn it around like this, get it in between your knees. Take the new magazine. When you come up, rip the old one out, put the fresh one in, regain the gun, come up, and shoot. Simple, okay? Simple drill. Necessity is the mother of invention, okay? Go slow, be calm as you can, and make each movement efficient and make each movement count as maximally as possible. There's nothing you can waste when you're wounded, okay? All right, let's go now to what happens if I shoot the slide lock. Let's just say the weapon is at slide lock, so I'm here now, okay? How do I do that? Well, it's very simple, okay? The weapon would be right down here, and we know we don't want to shoot the slide lock, but sometimes it happens, okay? Slides to the rear, I put the fresh magazine in, I pick it up, and with the index finger, let it go forward and shoot. Simple. Okay, one more time. Slide lock. All I'm going to do is insert my magazine, pick up the gun, let the index finger let it go home, and shoot. Okay? Now, as you saw earlier in the tape, what happens when the slide doesn't lock to the rear? Okay? And it slides forward. like this. Okay, we know that we need to reload. We know that there's been a problem. We need to reload the gun. Okay, so I draw. Weapons out, been shooting. Now, no round in the chamber. I know I need to reload. Drop the magazine. Put it between our legs. Grab the fresh magazine. Insert it. Now, pick the gun up. Seat the rear sight on your belt. Right on your belt. Push down and away. Bring it up and simple. All right, let's take a look at that again. I know I need to reload. The slide's still forward. I've had a failure to fire. Draw, need to reload. Uh-oh. Magazine goes out, clasp between the knees, put the fresh one in, come right to the belt, down and away, and shoot. Simple. Now you can see why you need that strong belt. You need a good support item, your belt, okay? Most common error here is that people get frantic, and what they'll do is they'll scrape the gun, never fully getting the slide lock to the rear, okay? The second thing is they'll create an unsafe condition by actually letting the muzzle point at their own leg. Never want to do that. Never want to point it at anybody else. So what we're going to do is put it right on our belt, push down and away, slip it to the side. Not endangering anybody, including myself. Okay, now, you have to be careful. You have to make sure you push it away, because if you're not careful, this is what's going to happen. Okay, I'm going to bunch a little fabric here, and you're going to push it down, and you're going to get it stuck just like that. That's why we push it down and away, so that this doesn't occur, okay? So I'll do it correctly, down and away. That's how you're going to cycle the weapon, okay? Very simple reloading drills. Now, I was taught initially, years back, this method, where you would take the gun, you would let that go, and you would take it and put it right there. There's a problem with that. The problem is, number one, my mobility is fairly limited here. Number two, where's the muzzle pointed? Close to this foot, close to this heel, okay? It is a very secure position, okay, where you can then take the magazine out, put this in, and then regain it, step up, and go. But if you noticed, on the way up, what did the muzzle do? It passed my leg. Let's see it again. Okay, I'm here, I reload. Now watch the gun, and pass my leg. Don't want that to happen either, okay? So I prefer the first method. All right, let's talk about a failure to fire drill now and how we're going to clear it with the weak hand. We're going to do this not from the holster that we've been doing before, but from a reload position, because that's primarily where you're going to run into that problem. In other words, I'm in a situation where I've already put the weapon here between my knees. I try to seat the magazine. I do it ineffectually, let the slide go forward, and then, because I didn't seat it effectively, one round goes off, and then I have to clear the failure to fire, okay? So from here, I'm just going to pick the gun up, and I'm going to show you the process. From right here, I've just reloaded, I bring the gun up, I fire one round, try to shoot again, nothing. Okay, how are we going to do this? First thing, finger comes out of the trigger guard. Tap on the hip. Rack. Bang. Simple tap, rack, bang. Just my cameraman loves it when I shoot and he doesn't have his hearing protection in. Simple tap, rack, bang drill done with the weak hand. Very easy to accomplish, okay? Let's do it again. One round in the chamber, just touch the magazine release button to unseat the magazine. We'll start from this position right here. So I've just reloaded, boom, I pick the weapon up, I fire one round. Oh, try to fire again, nothing. Tap, rack, and bang. Okay, you can see how that belt's becoming our other hand now. All right, it's very, very important. Shouldn't be any questions about that. Not a lot happening here, okay? Tap the hip bone, rack the action down and away from your leg, come up and shoot just like you've been doing, okay? Now, what happens in the event that we have a stovepipe? You grab a piece of brass here off the deck, and we'll set up a stovepipe. Stovepipes are very, very easy, okay? How we're going to set this up is just like we did in the first video. Put the weapon right against your stomach, just like this. Hold it, pull it back slightly, insert your piece of brass, there's your malfunction, your stovepipe, okay, which is a failure to eject, all right? From here, it's very simple. You've been firing, okay, now you notice this big brass thing sticking out of your gun. All you've got to do is bring this down, flick it off on the belt, and fire. Okay, let's do it one more time. We'll set it up one more time. Okay? Again, against the stomach, good control. Right here with the right hand, pull the slide back slightly, insert our piece of brass, just like that. Re-grab with our left hand. Okay, now again, what are we trying to accomplish? Simple clearing of the stovepipe. I've been shooting, I notice, oh, got a piece of brass. Finger comes out of the trigger, clear, and that's all there is to it. Okay, real simple. The daddy of all these malfunctions, the one that you're going to hate the most, is the double feed. And we hate double feed strong hand, but weak hand, they're really terrible, all right? So what I need you to do now, as you're sitting at home, is take your weapon, make sure that it's completely unloaded and clear. Look in the chamber, make sure that it's clear, nothing in there. Don't want to put any rounds to the television set or a wall. Okay, and what I need you to do is, I need you to practice locking the slide to the rear using the weak hand. Now this is terribly frustrating, okay? Let me explain this. When we lock our slide to the rear using our strong hand, typically we'll take a quarter step towards the firing range so that we keep the muzzle pointed down range. We'll start applying upward pressure with the thumb, and then we'll cycle the slide back. That's how we lock it to the rear. Yet when people try to do it weak hand, they'll wait or try to wait until that notch, that slide lock notch, is dead centered over the slide lock release before they'll push up, and they get frustrated. Don't do that. Okay, what we're going to do is change the grip of our hand to this, where the thumb's directly in line with the gun and we have a good pushing force straight down on the weapon. Okay, if I do this, it makes my finger not want to work correctly. So I just move my hand just a little bit like that. Still got a good 3-finger grip here, still got meat of the hand back here, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to push up with my index finger, as you can see right here, starting right off the bat. I'm just going to press up. I'm going to seat my rear sight on my belt, and I'm going to push down, and boom, there it is. Lock to the rear. Okay, let's do it again. Okay, I'm here. I'm going to push up, start pushing back, and there it is. Lock to the rear. And you can do this with any handgun. Okay, let's do it one more time. Here, start pushing up on the belt, lock to the rear. Okay? Now, what are the steps that we have to do when we have a double feed? Well, we know from the first tape, okay, the first thing you got to do is move the cover, because no, there's no quick way to clear that, especially if you're already shot in the strong side. So what we want to do is move the cover. Once we've moved the cover, the first thing you've got to do is relieve that pressure off the magazine by locking the slide to the rear. Most important thing. So you've got to get your finger out of the trigger guard, boom, lock the slide to the rear, and then take the magazine out. All right, so you're going to shake the magazine down if it doesn't come out, put it just like a reload, and pull it out. All right, then, because if the gun has any carbon in it at all, we know that a round can get stuck up in there. We can't just shake it and hope that that round that's in there comes out. We've got to rack. We've got to let the extractor grab it and the ejector eject it. And then we've got to get a new magazine, because we don't know, maybe that's the culprit. Maybe that's what caused the malfunction to begin with, was a poor magazine, a bad magazine of some sort. Likely not, okay? Normally it's shooter error that causes double feed. So let's go through this whole procedure then. Let's set up a double feed. Once we set up the double feed, we'll go through it nice and slow, and then we'll shoot the thing. Okay? So what we're going to do to set up a double feed, just like you learned in the first tape, is we're going to bring it back like this. We're going to drop a round in the chamber. Make sure that it goes in the chamber, just like that. We're going to insert the magazine, and then we're going to let the slide home, riding the slide home. It's one of the few times we ride the slide home. But this time, of course, you do. And there's your double feed right there. Okay? Your world sucks when you have a double feed. Okay, so now we've been shooting, I do something boned up or whatever, and I end up with a double feed. Okay, the first thing I got to do is lock the slide to the rear. So I start pushing up, I move my slide to the rear, and I lock it to the rear. Now I hit the magazine release button, let that drop free. I let my slide go forward, and I rack continually. Rack, rack, rack. Okay, now I put it here, I get my fresh magazine, I put it in, I put my fresh round in it, and boom, I'm shooting. Simple enough. Confusing, could be very confusing, but simple enough. Now, what would you do if your magazine got hung up? If your magazine gets hung up, all you're going to do is lock the slide to the rear, press the magazine release button, letting it unseat, turn it upside down, and jerk it out with your weak hand. You don't have any choice. Okay? I've seen guys on the range have to resort to this, where the magazine has been stuck, and they've actually had to go down on their knee and use their boot to get in that magazine tip like this and pull it out. Doesn't matter what you do. The necessity is the mother of invention. The bottom line is get it out. Okay? You could use your belt or the belt line, okay, to just pull that thing out. Whatever you have to do to get that magazine out, get it out, because nothing can happen before you do that. All right? So let's set it up and let's shoot this drill. Return this magazine to my magazine pouch. Insert my round into the magazine, into the chamber rather. Ride my slide forward and temporarily holster my weapon. Put my eye protection on. Make sure that my cameraman has his hearing protection on. I'm busting Steve's balls. Here's my camera guy. And now what we're going to do is go through the drill. So I'm going to put it in my left hand. Okay, ready to fire. I come up, I'm ready to fire, and I can't. I got a double feed. Move the cover. Finger comes out of the trigger guard. Go on the belt, change your grip, lock it to the rear. Let that magazine release go. Now, let the magazine go forward. Rack, rack, rack. Put it between your legs. Grab a fresh magazine. Put it in, seat it, grab the gun, slide, and finger straight, transfer it to the right hand. Okay, let's do it one more time. Setting it up, putting the round in the chamber, seat the magazine, ride the slide forward, return our magazine pouch, our magazine to the magazine pouch. Again, we're here, we've been shooting, uh-oh, oh no, suck. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to take our finger out of the trigger guard, we're going to drop down, bring it down, lock it to the rear, just like this, drop our magazine, let it fall to the ground, cycle the slide, get that round out of there if one exists. Put it between our legs, grab the fresh magazine, insert it, make sure that we jack around in the chamber, and straight trigger finger, back to the right hand, and there we go. As I said earlier, you really got to do the things you don't like, and I really don't like to do that. However, take a look at the target, and you can see that with practice, you're going to find that you can be very, very accurate with your left hand. It's not as fast as a two-handed grip. It's not as flashy as a two-handed grip. You can't get away with rhythmic shooting, but you can certainly be accurate. You can make your rounds count, and that's what we're trying to do, is make your rounds count. Typically, you'll find it with the left hand, you'll center a real tight group because your natural point of aim is coming back to the same point with your weak hand. You're paying real close attention. You're really looking at that front sight where you might get a little bit sloppy on the strong side, sacrificing it for speed. I'll bet you thought you were done, didn't you? Well, you're not. What we have to do now is we have to do all those weak hand drills that we just did from a prone position. What we're doing is we're preparing for the eventuality that when you're shot, you fall down. Now, obviously, lots of different things happen when people get shot, and if I asked you what happens when you shoot somebody, every one of you who have had the chance or the misfortune to have to do that would give me a different answer. Any number of thousand variables occur. Sometimes people just stand there and look at you. Sometimes they fall down. Sometimes they clutch what you just shot. Who knows? Most of the time, if people blow back like this, it's because they have some kind of preconceived notion about what they ought to do when they're shot, and they're reacting to the pain of being shot. Regardless of any of that, if you find yourself on your ass after you've been shot, which is likely, okay, you've got to be able to do all of these things from a seated position or a prone position, a reverse prone position, etc. So what I want to do is just work through some of that with you. We're going to move fairly quickly through this. Use your rewind if you want to take a look at them, okay? If I've been shot backwards and I stumble back and fall backwards like this, that doesn't mean that I just quit, okay? I mean, I've just been wounded in my right hand. I've still got to draw my weapon and shoot. Nothing changes. Just because I'm in a prone position, I still reach back, I take my weapon out, and I bring it up, and I bring it to bear and shoot. Nothing changes, okay? Now, necessity is the mother of invention here. You've heard me say it before, I might have to shoot like this. I might have to steady the gun just like this and shoot. Maybe that'll work. Maybe a modified Creedmoor position will work. Any number of positions are going to work, and you need to play with all of these positions to find out what's going to be most advantageous to you. the thing that you want to try to do, and it could be very difficult to even move, so take this with a grain of salt, but if you can, you want to make sure that your firing arm is up. If that's your weak arm, that it's up. If I am this way here, it's very difficult for me to bring the weapon up to bear because of the radius. See, my hand wants to lay here, which is down at his feet. I've got to bring it up to shoot. Whereas if I reverse it and I flop over this way, I don't have nearly as far to bring the weapon. It's naturally up here. I can rest it on my knee this way and shoot from a good control position, just like that. Any number of firing positions, okay? So let's do the draw one more time. Starting from a standing position. And don't kill yourself when you flop down onto the ground, okay? You want to be careful. You're going to be hurt bad enough if you've been shot. Throwing yourself violently on the ground in training isn't really necessary. You can just kind of help yourself down at the ground, okay? So, I'm here, all of a sudden, boom, oh, I've been shot. I come down, I pull the weapon out, I bring it to bear, and fire on my target. You can see right here, this is a variation of all of those. I have a tendency to want to cross my legs like this, so that if I have to, I can drop down on my leg. This is the position I find most comfortable to me. Depending on where I am to the target, it may have to be different. If I fall down and can't move and I'm in this position here, I may be having to shoot like this, free hand. It may not be my choice. We don't know what's going to happen when we get shot. Okay, always when you're doing these drills, make sure that you reholster in a safe manner. Okay, you see that I'm not flopping around with my finger in the trigger guard, being very muzzle conscious, transferring the hand to my strong hand, and then put the gun away where it belongs before I get up, okay? All right, now, let's say that I have to reload down here. I've been shot, now I've got to draw, I'm going to fire a couple of rounds, then I'm going to reload, okay? So I'm going to start from this position right here. I've already been shooting, and now I need to reload. So I'm here, I've been shooting, okay, now I need to reload. Does anything change? No. I hit the magazine release button, put the gun between my knees, grab my magazine, put them in, bring it back up to bear, and continue to shoot. Okay? I'm not going to do that anymore, okay? I want you to go ahead and use your rewind to do it. We got a lot more information to put on the tape. Okay, I'm going to set up now, and we're going to set up a tap, rack, bang. I'm going to touch the magazine release button, making sure that my magazine drops just a little bit. I'm going to roll down into my firing position. I'm going to shoot. First couple of rounds, I'm going to fire once, attempt to fire again, nothing happens. Uh-oh, I got to do a tap, rack, bang. What do I do? Tap, go on my belt, rack, and shoot. I'm going to touch my magazine release button, unseat the magazine. I'm going to shoot one round. I'm going to attempt to fire another. Nothing. Tap. I'm going to rack on my belt and bring it back to bear. Nothing to it. Nothing to it at all. Okay, now let's do the dreaded double feed. Can you do it from a prone position? Absolutely. Okay, I'm going to take this right here. I'm going to set up my double feed. Just like this, okay? So I've been shooting. I've been shooting, and all of a sudden, nothing. I look, uh-oh, big problem. Come down here, change the grip, lock the slide to the rear, drop the magazine, let the slide go forward, rack, rack, rack. Let the ejector and extractor do their business. Pull in here, put the new magazine in, rack the gun, come up and shoot. Something that you've got to get past, and something, the myth that a lot of shooting schools purvey, is that they're teaching something that is so difficult or mysterious that the normal person couldn't figure it out. You can figure all of this stuff out. It's not magic, okay? It's just physical reaction to adversity. And you can overcome adversity. You just have to think. You have to make a study. I've been fortunate. It's my job, so I've had the ability to sit and think and then actually use on deployments all of these techniques, okay, to actually see them employed, to actually develop them and make sure that they work. So don't fall prey to, well, I have to go here to learn it because it's mysterious and only they know to do it. That's not correct. What you need to do is, as I said earlier, make sure you do it dry fire, make sure you do it safely, have somebody qualified there to watch you, to listen to what you're about to do, watch your muzzle, watch your trigger finger, walk through it carefully, even videotape it. Look at yourself in the videotape, see if it's safe. Then load up and slowly go through these drills. Remember what I said about the guys that were wounded? Each one of them said that they wished that they had had the opportunity to do this kind of work prior to being shot and having to figure it out on their own. That's a hell of a thing to have to do when you're wounded, to try to figure all of this stuff out. And precious seconds, you know, count, because that person may be pressing on you now that he knows he's got one round in you, he may be coming, who knows? So we've got to be able to get the thing functioning. Hopefully I've covered this adequately enough and you don't have any questions. Let's move on. I'm Jim Grover. These are actual situations, things that'll make you survivable on the street.
You need to look at it from a survivability standpoint.
Simple. All right, what we're going to do now is we're going to talk a little bit about common problems. You heard me talk about the fatal funnel, and here's an excellent example of the fatal funnel right here. You can see it clearly outlined on the floor. I'm clearly silhouetted from the light in this room shining out. There's your fatal funnel depicted here. Now, right just in this problem right here, we've got a couple of things going on, a lot of dynamics. As I come down this hallway, if I was to hug this side of the hallway right here, I'd be in a very, very bad shooting position. I'd have to come around like this. I'd be right here on top of it, and there's no way for me to really adequately come around. I'm getting very little depth of vision, okay? I'm going to be able to see this plane right to here. This is a plane, and then this whole area. It's a lot better if I step back from that wall and hug this wall as I come down. As I move down this hallway here, I'm going to stay to this side so that I get a deeper view down the hallway as I incrementally approach. Now, once you come to a plane here, there's still going to be a small area that you can't account for. And when you get to that area, the best thing to do is to just step and take it. That's all you've got to do, being prepared to shoot. So from here, once I've cleared all that way and I've got just that little area left, step and hold, being prepared to shoot. Now, as I walk up into this area, I'm going to drop my weapon just slightly, like I said, so I can just lift it an inch or so. I'm not going to do this, leaving it right up in front of my face. As I come down here,
you're going to find that your weapon's going to go in and out, and your hand's going to come out. You're going to be moving with the weapon. You're not going to move through the whole building like this. It's impossible. As I come up to this doorway, I've got to gain vision into the room as I see it. So I'm walking down, I start to slip this corner, I'm going to take that corner, and I've got a target in that back corner. So I would shoot that target from this position if I had indeed that target. Now, from there, if I didn't have that target, I'm going to continue to move along, and incrementally pie out this area. Now I've got one spot right in this back right-hand corner that I'm going to have to step to take and move through the fatal funnel, and now check in behind the door. Now, if you look at my weapon and where it is, common error is that shooters will stand like this. Now, you can see where the light is on my arms, that my pistol and my arms are exposed. I want to step back. I still have the same amount of vision, but I'm not exposing my arms or my hand or my pistol, so no one knows I'm coming. I look behind that door using the crack, and then again, incrementally step out here, okay, and then quickly step across, so now I'm into the back side of the room. Now, here you'd have an option. You can either bring the gun back to a weapons retention position and be prepared to shoot here in a weapons retention position, or I can step back this way, have the gun pressed out, and then when I get to that last little bit I can't clear, step and take the room. Now I'm inside this room. It's an L-shaped room. Normally, in a clearing, this would be it. I've cleared all my four corners. I've seen behind any obstacles that exist. I might go back behind there, keep the gun trained, check behind that chair if nothing existed there. But if this was just a square room, I'd be done. But obviously, we have an L-shaped room. The incorrect thing to do with an L-shaped room would be to stay here and hug this wall, pull the weapon back, and then step. I don't need to do that. You do that when you have to do it. In other words, when you don't have depth, okay? But since I have all of this room to work with, what I'm going to do is I'm going to step back into the depth of the room, and I'm going to use this depth as a nice deep way of incrementally clearing, looking, and there's my target. Now, if no target existed, again, there's a small percentage of area back in the back left-hand corner I can't see. I'm going to come up to the plane. Okay, can you see the plane from the corner of that wall right here all the way back past my shoulder? I just can't see back in there, and when I get to that plane, I'm going to break the plane and hold the area. Okay, now I know that this room is clear. So you can see it's a very, very incremental process. All right, now let's go ahead and fire this drill, live fire, and see what it looks like. Let's go. Not in any rush. My movement is only as fast as I feel comfortable shooting. I don't want to move so fast that I can't shoot. That's a common error. People want to run through the house. I'm aware of my fatal funnel, my left-hand side. Staying as much, I'm denying the area to my left now. If you look where I'm positioned, I'm denying that area. Now I'm going to step. Clear. Now, hopefully what you saw there was a very fast and rapid motion as soon as I picked up my target. The most common error I'm going to display for you right now. Let's go back outside and I'll show you what some novice shooters do. What you'll find some novice shooters doing is they come in and they've got a picture. As they come across a target, their gun will be low like this. And watch the time that it takes for me to shoot. Okay, there's a very big difference between that and this. and so on. So what we're trying to get to here is moving just so fast that our movement will allow us to shoot all the time. You can see there's a lot of movement occurring, okay? Steady, controlled motion, not jerky. I'm not moving very quick. I'm very nice, smooth, quiet. Every once in a while, I stop, I look, I listen, I see what's occurring. I'm using the building. Right here, I used this wall to deny that back corner. They can't see me. I'm only one man, okay? I clear here. Then I know that's clear. Now I can expose myself to that and incrementally clear here, all right? Now I'm coming up here and I'm using this wall here to screen me from back there. Again, I'm denying the area, okay? Once I get here, quick step and you're in, okay? When it takes time, when it's time to move, move aggressively and be prepared to shoot. A lot of people say, well, you know, you're coming around that wall very quickly. That's right, I am, and I am prepared to shoot. If I come around that corner and someone rushes at me, I'm going to shoot them, okay? Just as if I came around this corner here, and I did not have this area, and I had to come around the corner like this, and he rushed me, there's absolutely no problem at all with doing that either, okay? This arm is a guard. It's prepared to hit someone in the face, in the eyes, using my hands like we teach in combative skills, or fend, or grab, and do a close defensive fire, all right? So that's why this position here, this weapons retention position, is so important, all right? There's a lot of things going on in a building. Think about your own house compared to your neighbor's house, compared to your aunt's house, compared to your grandmother's house, your mother's house. There's so many variations in architecture, we can't account for them all. We just have to use our head. All right, let's go on to the next problem. All right, what we're going to do now is we're going to move on to a little bit more complex problem, all right? As you look inside this building, George has the angle here. You can see that there's a doorway here to my right, there's a doorway here to my left, and there's a doorway behind me. And of course, this is a common type of structure. I mean, as you come in here, you've got a hallway to your left, you've got a living room to your right, you've got kind of a common area, a kitchen area here, and then a bedroom back here. How does one man effectively clear all of this? Okay, this is where we come to the crux of the problem and where we find that anyone that says, oh, you can do it and be 100% all the time, they're full of shit. As we come through here, I'm going to have to deny several areas. And it's not 100% safe, okay? It won't be 100% safe. You can always say, well, what if someone did it? Well, I guess sometimes, you know, unless you're able to react and shoot, you're going to get shot. That's why we spend so much time on the flat range, okay, developing our skills. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the movement through this doorway right here, show you the movement, how I'm going to control that hallway, how I'm going to control these doors right here. And initially what I'll do is I'm going to open these doorways. Okay, so I'd have to be very concerned with people looking back at me. And I'll just go through it dry first, and then we're going to go through it live fire. All right, let's do it. Okay, as you can see here, what I'm looking at is I'm looking at a very complex problem. Just through the camera's eye, you can see a lot of immediate danger areas, okay? So what I'd have to do is I'd have to have my weapon out, and I'm approaching here. This window, of course, for the play of this problem is non-existent. I come up here, and all I've got to do is look and pie this way, staying out of the fatal funnel. Now I'm going to step, pie, and step across the fatal funnel here to this side. And I'm going to look down as far as I can here. Now I'm going to come back and I'm going to clear this way. And I'm going to come a little bit closer. And without exposing my arms to this back angle by doing this, which is called encroaching, I've got to stay back behind it to deny vision that way. So I'm going to stay here. Now I understand that when I break this plane, I've got three immediate danger areas. 1, 2, 3. So the only way that I can handle that is if I face here. I'm going to go as deep as I can here and look. Now I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go as deep as I can here and look. Now I got a tactical decision to make. I can close this door and at least block that one avenue of access to me. So what I've got to do is come through, look and go straight across and close this door. Okay, now, as you can see, I've got a target right here. As I came through here, automatically, what would I have done? As I'm moving, I would shoot. Would I stop the shoot? No, I can't, because I don't know what's behind me in this hallway here. So that's where we develop our moving and shooting skills. So as I clear that doorway, I'm going to have to shoot, if that's what I see. If he wasn't there, then it's no problem, okay? So now from this standpoint, if you see, I'm not stepping out here. Just because this is closed doesn't mean someone can't open it, shoot through it, whatever. I'm going to deny that area and deny this area by staying right here. Now I'm going to continue up, and I realize that, uh-oh, I got an open room right here. So this angle comes this way. I'm going to have to break this plane and take that angle. But I've got this one to worry about also. So I'm going to look here, come over here. Now I'm going to split, looking both ways, and now I've got to commit and make a decision. But I've got to do it quickly. Look, look, and look. All right, now I've got to come back this side. I know that's clear. I still haven't cleared this hallway down here, so I've got my weapon up. You can see that that area is clear there. Now I'm going to incrementally come out, incrementally come out, incrementally come out. And I've got an open area to my right, a door straight ahead, and an open area to my left. So what do I got to do? I've got to check here, then I've got to come over this way. Once I look through this room here, now I'm going to put my back against this wall. By putting my back against this wall, I've denied that whole hallway and everything there access to me. Okay, now if I was just going to clear this house and get out of here, I'd move as quickly as I could this way. I've already cleared that room. I'm just going to move across, covering my movement this way until I've got all three areas. Come over here, look, and go. And I'm gone. Very, very difficult, very complex. You look at this situation, you go, ah, it's not that bad. All right? Now I'm going to play with you a little bit. Come on back here. We take the same circumstance, and all we're going to do is close this door. Now, as you look at this, this whole thing is different now. I got two closed doors, neither of which have been cleared, neither of which I know what's behind. And then I've got this open space here. My tactical decision just changed. My tactical decision now might be this. I'm here, I'm clearing. I step across the fatal funnel, I look, I come back in a little deeper, closed door, clear, and I see my open door here. What am I going to do? I'm going to clear the way of this hallway, I'm going to look here, and I'm going to approach this doorway now. And I'll clear slowly, slowly, boom, target, and clear here, and here. Now there's my opening. And there's my exit. Now from here, I'd have one last little bit of clearing to do, and that's this corner and this corner. And once I've cleared there, beeline. And out I go. Very, very difficult tactical decisions. All right? Let's shoot it. Back behind this plane. I don't want to linger here because that door's just been closed. I don't know what's back there, so I'm going to move through here very quickly and get to my position here. Looking. Pieing it out, looking. Looking. Room's clear. Now we come to the bad part. What do you do here? There's so much going on. How do I do this? Simple. Weapons retention position, reach forward. And gone. All right, let's talk now about what is the worst situation. The worst situation is normally where you've got depth to each side of an opening. And that's a real bad problem, okay? Because if a knucklehead was to line up back here or line up back here, he's kind of got you dead to rights. Now, in a team entry, what happens is there's one guy right on top of another, and as soon as I break the plane, boom, he breaks the plane the other way. So you've got those angles covered quickly, and then we collapse onto the center in our sectors of fire, okay? Normally, one guy will run a little bit deeper. One maintains a sector of fire this way in the room. The other man would maintain a sector of fire this way in the room, okay? So you've got it from two angles, just like this. Unfortunately, when we're alone, we can't do that, okay? We've got a significant problem. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you an answer for this particular problem, okay? At some point, you are going to be exposed from one side or your other, from your backside or from the other side. It can't not happen. One man can't cover both directions at the same time. And in order for me to see down there, a little bit of me is going to be exposed back here. But some ways are better than others, all right? This is one that I'll suggest to you. Let's take a look this way. Disregard this. We're just going to use this doorway as our problem. So I come up. I've had a problem. I'm starting to move. I'm going into a room. Again, I'm going to stay out of this fatal funnel. See it outlined right here, there, and here. So I'm outside of the fatal funnel, and I'm going to come up and I'm going to look as deep to one side as I can. You shouldn't even be able to see me. You should be able to just hear me looking straight at me. All right, now, once I can see as far down that hallway that way as I can, or into that room, now I'm going to make my cross onto the other side. And I'm going to look as far into the room this way as I can. Okay, and again, you can't see me, all right? I'm not doing this. I don't want anyone to know I'm coming. I certainly don't want to give them any kind of time to prepare. All right, now, from here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to encroach this area slightly. I might start to bring my weapon back because I don't want anyone back in that area to see me. So I might start bringing the weapon back, and I'm looking this way. All right, so as the camera angle goes over there, you can see I'm looking this way. All right, now I'm a little bit closer, and I'm going to come over, and I'm going to look this way. Always ready to shoot. Now, I've got a bad tactical decision to make, but it's not going to go away unless I clear it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out. I'm going to keep my toe and my foot inside the doorway. Okay, I'm not doing this. Being very careful of all my body parts. I'm going to take a quick look and come back. It's not a quick peek. I'm not doing this. What I'm doing is actually coming out, putting the weapon on, and taking a quick look. Now I'm going to come back this way. I'm going to look, step, and then sweep the room. And I'm in. Okay? Very, very difficult situation, okay? I'm going to ask the cameraman to stand right here and see what he sees. So again, I'm here. I've cleared as much as I can by encroaching the doorway, staying in a weapons retention position. I'm right in the doorway now. You still can't see me. Still can't see me. Now my quick look. Whoop, there it is. If my movement supports shooting, I can trigger that round. Okay, so now going the other way, I'm going to come out, I'm going to look. Here, I've cleared. Back up so my muzzle doesn't come out, and then here and clear back to the center of the room. All right, let's talk about another tactical tough point. Let's say that I come around this corner, and in the worst scenario, my man is standing right here. Okay, like right along the wall on this 90-degree angle. And of course, the problem here is that a lot of people think, well, you know, he could be right there, and when you come across, boom, he's into you. If you really look from this angle, okay, you can see he's several feet back there, but you can still see his shoulder sticking out, all right? But let's just use the tactical example that the guy's flattened against the wall, for example, and when you come in, he turns into you, all right? Let's talk a little bit about having our weapon out and what we might find ourselves doing. You've still got to make a tactical judgment, and that is did this guy offer you physical violence? Are you able to shoot him? And it's going to be a very difficult tactical situation to figure out. But if my weapon is out, and I'm moving in a weapons retention position, and I come around this corner and I see him, and all of a sudden he bolts at me. There's nothing at all wrong with punching and then bringing the weapon to bear, okay? Simply, that's what this hand is for. It's to guard. It's to knock people out of the way. It's to push people down. It's to control people, all right? So let's take a look at what that might look like. As I come up here, we're disregarding this portion of the hallway. This is my room. I'm coming in, okay? I'm gonna look this way. I've cleared back in there where someone might secrete themselves. I take a long look, clear over here. I look over, bring the weapon back. I come along, and all of a sudden he rushes me. All right, what we're going to talk about now is stairs. Stairs, most people have some kind of stair in their house where, you know, it either goes down into the basement or goes upstairs. It may lead somewhere else, out into a patio, whatever. Stairs are very, very problematic. Now, years ago, everyone said it's much better to clear down than it is going up. That's a holdover from an old military principle in World War II where people were coming upstairs, throwing grenades upstairs just to have them bounce back down, okay? So everyone said, oh, it's terrible to clear up. I disagree with that. And the reason is when you're going upstairs, you've got one window of opportunity. That's the top of the stairs. That's the only thing you have to focus your attention on. So if I'm coming upstairs, I've got this opening right here. That's all. That's all I've got to worry about. Now, once I get up there, I'll worry about all the... Maybe there's a bathroom across the way or a hallway to my right or whatever. But I can control coming up by using my muzzle to protect me as I come up. The problem is coming down. Because when I come down, the first thing that's going to be exposed, if this was the ceiling right here, are my legs. I'm going to walk down just like this. And just as the camera sees, my legs first. Now, from here, if this was our ceiling, I can't see that door opening over there. I can't see back here, which is the cut around. Okay, I can't see much of anything. But they can see my legs. I have to keep coming down, down. Okay, now I can see a little bit back here. Down, now I can see there. He can see me, they can see me first. So clearing up, I'd much rather clear upstairs, me personally, again, being a victim of my own experience, than clearing down. There's too many things happening down here. I got a doorway, a hallway, another bend. Very, very problematic. And if you think about your own stairs at home, most stairs do just this, come down and loop around. All right, so let's talk a little bit about technique. Going upstairs is no big deal, okay? As I walk upstairs, all I've got to do is keep my muzzle pointed right at that opening. That's all I've got to do. As I approach up here, all I'm going to do is watch my step. I'm going to come up. I'm going to feel the step, feel the step, feel the step, feel the step. Okay? Now, if you notice, I'm not centered in the hall, in the stairwell. I'm against one side, and I'm not rubbing on it. I'm just closer to one side than the other. Okay? If I knew that the bend went this way, then where would I be? I'd be over here so that I could get the angle down there. If I knew that the hallway went that way, I'd be here so I could get the angle there before I break that plane. But that's really all there is to it. Once you get up top, you're basically breaking a plane and doing an entry. Okay, just like you're going to enter a room, you're doing the same thing at the top of your stairs. Coming down is a whole different story. All right, let's take a look at what coming down would look like. All right, as I come down the stairs, what I've got to do is I've got to move my body in such a way that I can see as much of the area as I can as I come down. Now I'm going to deny that area back there using this portion, all of this, of the stair to mask my movement. A person back there secreted in the rear can't see me. I'm concentrating right here on this doorway. So I'm going to keep moving down, concentrating on that doorway, using this part of the stairs to mask my movement until I get a fairly deep view into that room. Now, right about here, my masking has ended. So what I'm going to have to do now is turn and start looking back here. And again, if I've got two open areas, I've got to kind of split interest using the third eye principle, right? I've got two eyes on my head and one on my muzzle. Now I'm here. I've got a tactical decision to make. Do I bother to go into that room first, or do I go back here and see what's going on? I don't know. Depends on the tactical situation, depends on what you're looking at. Depending on which door's open or what I see, I might go this way today, I might go that way tomorrow. It all depends, okay? There's no absolutes in CQB. So I'm here, the stairs are still masking me, my muzzle's not poking out into the hallway, and I decide I'm gonna go up this way. So what I'm gonna do is just get out of this doorway. Now I'm gonna use that corner of the wall to mask my movement, and I'm gonna make an entry by basically breaking this plane of the staircase, right here. Now I'm gonna move down the hallway, and I decide, okay, no problem. Come back over here, and what do I do here? Make entry, okay? Again, we're just playing chess. All we're doing is we're using the architecture to our benefit, which is very difficult to do on the fly sometimes. That's why a contingency plan, walking through your house, seeing what's going on is very, very useful. All right, so let's go ahead and fire this hot and see what it looks like, okay? And clear. Shows you some of the difficulty in house clearing. This is going to end the series and end the portion of the tape that we talk about room clearing or single-man movements through a building. I hope, if anything, inside this house, I've shown you that it's not as simple as it says in a magazine article or some authority tells you that it's fairly simple to move through a building. It's not. It's very, very difficult. It's like a very complex chess game. Just remember to go slow, keep your trigger finger clear, use the weapon safety. If it's a double action, use the double action as a safety. Stop, look, listen, watch your reverse angles, deny access by using the architecture, and move just as fast as you feel comfortable shooting. If you move too quickly and can't shoot immediately, then you're doing it unsafely, okay, including in tactics. All right, I appreciate you buying the series. Thanks.